carpe sus when hunting up in North Texas after I got a text from my landowner saying that he had new hog activity on his property. So I said I'd be right there. I set up in the barn area, waited for about 3 hours for hogs to come in. Sure enough, he'd had a lot of hay activity going on. He'd cut hay, done some baling, but I didn't see any hogs. I did see several skunks and managed to have a couple coyotes come in at distance, but no hogs. So I decided to move to the other side of the property. Here I'd been set up for about an hour and a half watching cattle and deer when I spied an unusual animal down in the woods. It finally turned. It looked like it was going to be a hog, enough for me to make a decision to cross the pasture some 400 yards to get closer to it. As I made my approach, I did identify it as a hog for certain, and so moved in so that I could take my shot. I'm having trouble seeing him here, but it's because he's wet and he's in high grass. He's staying in one spot. I'm not sure why, but fortunately he's remained in place. But now it looks like maybe he's going to take off. But he turns around, and that gives me an opportunity to take my shot. As usual, I like to get a good look at the hogs that are down before approaching them very closely, just to make sure that they're dead. I figured out why the hog remained in one spot for so long. He was standing underneath a persimmon tree eating persimmons off the ground. And here's where I discovered why I had trouble seeing him on thermal. He was wet and partially covered in mud. My shot entered the left side of the neck just forward of the shoulder blade, crossed over to the other side, and exited out behind the opposite ear. I decided to take a look at the damage done by the Horned DSST round as it went through the neck and realized that it had exited all the way out the opposite side just behind the skull without damaging the skull itself. So I decided to do a little bit more research into finding out what caused the death of the animal, and discovered that the bullet transected the spinal column, destroying the top half of the C2 and C3 vertebrae along with the spinal cord at that point.
Optics provided by Third Coast Thermal.
Carpe sus, my friends.